Ezekiel chapter 47. Ezekiel has 48 chapters, so one more chapter and we're done. So here it speaks of a river. We may have to keep in mind that chapters 40 to 48 are details of a vision. So Ezekiel is being taken by an angel to over these places to see the sanctuary. That it means that this is in Israel. That means few things. First, they're going back. Then the sanctuary is going to be rebuilt and there's restoration. So this vision is to give the exiles hope that God hasn't forgotten them, that they will come back, and the sanctuary is to remind them, so going forward, they're not in the dark as was expected of them. Okay, to remind them of their previous apostasy, what happened that led them to be in exile. So don't, going forward, you're going back. So what does that mean? That you're going to carry on as before? No, this is the expectation, but we know that we know what's expected of us, but do we do it? No. Human agency is always been like that. So the post-exilic community is as bad as the pre-exilic community. Apostasy done in the Second Temple, we know, is as bad, if not worse. So going forward, the new covenant has to come in. So here, continuing with his tour of the sanctuary, Ezekiel is taken outside of the building and then comes back again into the building. And here, he saw some strange things happening. Chapter 47. Afterward, he brought me again unto the door of the temple, and behold, water issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward. Eastward. The east gate is where God comes in from. That's where he enters. And out of that inner sanctuary, he sees water, a river. He said, I didn't see this before the first time I came in. So here, the second time he comes in, he sees it. So he would wade through the water. First it says, verse 3, he would wade through the water. It was 1,000 cubits, 500 meters. It was ankle deep water. As he goes in another 500 meters, another 1,000 cubits, it was knee-high water, gets deeper. And then as he goes another 500 meters, it was waist-high. And then another 500 meters, 2 kilometers into the river, you couldn't walk anymore. You have to swim. So they decided that it's time to return back. So verse 6, and he said unto me, that is his guide, Son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the brink of the river. So now, verse 7, now when I returned, behold, at the bank of the river, he sees more strange things. What does he see on the bank of the river? Very many trees on one side and on the other. Wow, trees growing on both sides of the banks of the river. And verse 8, then said he to me, these waters issued out towards the east country and go down into the desert and go to the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the waters will be healed. So the river flows to the sea also, and the sea will be healed. But the strange thing is, it goes the other way to the marshes, and the marshes will not be healed. It's like, where is this place? The description gives us a very familiar place. And water, what does water mean? Water in the desert is a premium commodity. You need water. Without water, there's no life. And here, the promise not just of return to land, a sanctuary, but a fertile and well-watered land. That's what land of Canaan always was. A land flowing with milk and honey. That's what land of Canaan is always. Verse 9, shall come to pass that everything that liveth, which moveth, whithersoever the river shall come, shall live. And there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither, for they shall be healed, and everything shall live whether the river cometh. So what's the river for? So that there'll be lots of fish. There'll be fruit-bearing trees on both sides for food, for meat, it says here, to feed the people, and also for healing. Everything you need is already provided for. And this verse 10 is very interesting. And it shall come up to pass that the fishes shall stand upon it from En Gedi even unto En Eglium. See, we know where En Gedi is. It's still there. En Gedi is an oasis next to the western side of the Dead Sea. It's still there. En Gedi has waterfalls, pools of water, river of water running through, fresh water running through. En Gedi is a very popular place in Israel right now. I mean, all this time, because it's an oasis. It's a cool place, water feature. It's like wow, from En Gedi to En Eglium, which is still there. En Eglium is, so it flows from En Gedi into En Eglium in the Dead Sea. It does say here. Verse 11, but the miry places thereof and the marshes thereof shall not be healed, they shall be given to salt. So true. It's amazing. So here, verse 10 is the greatest promise. The water that flows, and the that means the fisherman, shall stand upon it from En Gedi even unto En Eglium. They shall be a place to spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to many kinds as the fish of the great sea, exceedingly many. I mean, the fish there is so plentiful. Possibly they still fish there, but not to that extent as they did before, with less population, with less economic activity. There'll be less fishing, so it will not be overfished. We have a situation here where the world's waterways are all overfished. So it goes on in that chapter to the borders of the land. Okay, so here, not just that, I've shown you the map of the borders of the land. It's very simplistic in the sense that you have a whole strip of land starting from Syria. If you notice, Damascus is included, Tyre and Sidon is included in this map that is going to be divided among the 12 tribes of Israel. And you see Damascus in the northern part, Dan in the northern part, right? Each, it's very simplistic in the sense that it just goes a straight line regardless of topography, the hills or whatever, just goes straight. Okay, this is for Dan, this is for who? From the sea to the border of the River Jordan, right down to the southern border of Kadesh Barnea. In the next post, I will give a detail of the division of land, which is very interesting. And right in the middle is the reserved portion where the sanctuary is. So this is very simplistic. So but it's amazing. Today we say, whose land is it? So the settlers said, look, this is the ancient map that's supposed to be it. So we can occupy this land. But that's a story for another day. But was Israel ever divided that way? No, never. Not even when they returned from exile. So, but that was, well, as in God's plan and will, is always the perfection. But then in this earthly life on earth, we need human agency to execute God's plan. And we know about human agency. Human needs people like you, like me, or whoever else over the millennia to execute this plan. And some people enforce it, like, see, look, this is the actual map. What map do we use? This map or pre-67 map or whatever, or the British Mandate map, whose land is it anyway. So after thousands of years, we're still fighting over it. But it just gives you an indication of the claims till today that is still unsettled, it's not settled. Another very important part is, so these tribes will come back. Each tribe will have their portion of land, and they will go live in their portion of land. And there is, in verse 22, a group of people called the strangers. Okay, the strangers among you which shall beget children among you, and they shall be born unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. So who are these people? Isaiah speaks of them. When Cyrus, in the Cyrus edict, we all know Cyrus said, anybody who wants to go back, can go back. So we think that all the Jewish people packed up and went back to Judea. No. Isaiah says, no, not everybody who wants to go back can go back. Only those who have stayed faithful in exile can go back. And among this, he notes the eunuchs. Why eunuchs? How many eunuchs are there? Well, there are many. And in Judaism, they forbid eunuchs. You cannot be a eunuch. Well, these are made. There are two kinds of eunuchs. Those are born eunuchs and those are made eunuchs. So these are mostly people who've been made eunuchs. Why? It's a customary practice that when a conquering nation conquers and takes the people of the conquered people, they will castrate the young males. So we will read in Daniel, the next book I will do, where Daniel speaks to the head of the eunuchs. So we can safely assume that Daniel and his three friends, among others, were made eunuchs. So that's why, the eunuchs can go back. So it does not, the new Judaism does not exclude the eunuchs. And the other class, Isaiah says, is the sons of the aliens, sons of the strangers. So in Babylon, in exile, there are Babylonians, there are non-believers who converted to Judaism. So they, if they want to go back, can go back. So here, it does, again, we read that in Isaiah, now in Ezekiel. It speaks of them again, the strangers and their children who wants to go back. So they will become part of Israel. And whichever tribe, whichever region they go to, they will become members of that tribe. If they join Dan, then they'll be from the tribe of Dan and so on. So here, God made provisions for everything. So the other interesting thing about the land is Dan in the north and in the south. Who is in the south? I forgot. In the south of Kadesh Barnea. We know about Kadesh Barnea. It's Gap. Dan in the north. So what is that? That is actually, there's a Canaanite gate there. It's still there. I think some ruins of it. The Dan, they call it Dan, the Canaanite gate. That's the gate through which Abraham came when he came down from Haran. He came through the Canaanite gate. So that's where Dan, it's north of Syria actually. It's still there. This is like, it's so amazing. I did a few weeks or a few months of biblical archaeology, and that has led me to do this major prophets, and it's been exciting.